And Dominic Breazeale getting ready for his matchup against Otto Wallin. Here's our tail of the tape, all the big boys. Look at the height advantage in favor of Breazeale along with the reach. Breazeale weighed in at 261 and a quarter, 240 and a half for Otto Wallin. So our co-main event, the tail of the tape is set. And now here's Jimmy Lennon Jr. with the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mohegan Sun Arena here in Uncasville, Connecticut, Premier Boxing Champions presents our next special attraction in the ring, brought to you by TGB Promotions, Salida Promotions, and Showtime. Introducing our judges, scoring from ringside, all from the state of New York, Tony Paolillo, Waleska Roldan, and Tom Schreck. Introducing our third man to the ring, the referee in charge of the action, Johnny Callis. All right, fans, here we go. The co-main event of the evening is a battle of heavyweights scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first, on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with blue and gold trim. Fighting out of New York City by way of Sundsvall, Sweden, he weighed in at 240.5 pounds. With a record of 21 wins, 1 loss, and 1 no contest, he has 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the highly regarded southpaw heavyweight contender, introducing Otto Wallin. His opponent across the ring on my right is fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green trunks, fighting out of Alhambra, California. He weighed in at 261.25 pounds. With a record of 20 wins, 2 losses, he has 18 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the hard-hitting former U.S. Olympian and world title challenger, introducing Dominic Trouble Breazeale. Once again, a referee in charge, Johnny Callis, now to give instructions.
Yep, let's get those a little bit lower, all right? A little bit lower, belly button's right in there. Below that belly button is a low blow. All right? She's your instructions in the dressing room, Otto, Dominic. I want you to protect yourself at all times, watch the rabbit punching, and above all, obey my commands at all times. First command is right now. I want you to touch gloves. When the bell rings, come out and box. Good luck.
Johnny Callis, the third man inside the ring. He literally and figuratively has a tall task. Also was told that Robert Easter Jr. has been sent to the hospital due to that cut above his left eye to get himself stitched up. But other than that, he's okay. Easter with the win over Ryan Martin earlier. But now it's Dominic Breazeale and Otto Wallin getting set to collide. Wallin is a southpaw. Conventional is Breazeale. Wearing the blue and black is Wallin. Wearing the, what is it, lime green? Or the neon yellow and the green is Dominic Breazeale. So Otto Wallin, his only loss came at the hands of Tyson Fury. That was, Fury did not have the heavyweight championship of the world. For Dominic Breazeale, his 2 losses came at the hands of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, both when he fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. There's a nice right hand connecting for Dominic Breazeale. Breazeale turned pro in November of 2012. There's a good jab there by Dominic Breazeale. We'll see if, I asked Dominic if taking a punch or 2 is something that wakes him up, and he kind of laughed as to say, yeah. You know, I like when it's kind of a thing that happens in my fights. I get tagged once or twice, and then I start to pick up the pace. But it's something that he's cognizant of. He wants to start a little bit stronger. There's a left hand that connected by Otto Wallin. Wallin is a southpaw. We'll see if Dominic Breazeale can start faster, and for Wallin, if he can get into his rhythm, especially dealing with the bigger man in Dominic Breazeale. Breazeale 6'6.5", 261 1/4. He outweighed Wallin by over 20 pounds. Dominic's got some power. He's got an 81% knockout percentage. There's a left that snapped back the head of Breazeale. Under a minute to go here in the first. There's another left connecting for Otto Wallin. I'm sure this fight's going to heat up at some point.
30 seconds.
There's a right hook for Otto Wallin. One item, Dominic Breazeale professed to me that Abel Sanchez has him in the best condition of his career, and that even after a few weeks, Dominic said things were really starting to click for him with his new trainer in Abel Sanchez. Looking forward to listening into what Abel is going to tell Dominic Breazeale in between rounds.
Time!
That ends the first.
Not so stiff on me. You can get into a little rhythm. You keep stepping to him. He's gonna throw a shot. You just make sure it doesn't have to be bombs. Just touch him. Just touch him. Okay? Good job. Huh? I want to see a good job. I want to see good jobs and good feints with it. Yeah. Good feint just and then good job. Okay? But you have to close it because you can't sit outside. He's gonna counter. Sir. Okay.
No better place to break him down. And you could pick your shots. It's there. Hey, you know, don't let him mark you into a corner. Don't let him get you on the rope. Stay out of there. Move that head. You got a really good jab. Well, you just heard it there.
All right, good.
Smart boxing. Smart boxing.
On to round two. This one is scheduled for 12. Well, you heard Abel Sanchez telling Dominic Breazeale, I want you to use feints more. Use feints. Change your levels. There's a straight left that connected, snapping back the head of Dominic Breazeale, the trainer of Otto Wallin, Joey Gamache, former fighter as well. They both are starting to exchange. There's a straight left for Wallin. See if Dominic Breazeale starts to use his feints and listen to the instruction of Abel Sanchez. Some arm punches there by Dominic Breazeale. I'm sure he's going to want to step to Otto Wallin. A minute has come off the clock here in the second. There's a straight left that popped Breazeale. Wallin is using his footwork to get out of danger as Breazeale comes forward. Breazeale's a little heavy-footed and flat-footed as he tries to press Wallin, but he's going to have to enter with his jab. He can't just try to use his physical attributes to cut off the ring. He's going to have to jab to cut off the ring. There's a jab followed by a right hand. There you go. See? If you're Breazeale, use the jab followed by the right hand, but he's got to enter with the jab. He can't just feel like his presence is going to cut off the ring by itself. He's got to do it with the jab, the most fundamental punch in all of boxing. And if you're Wallin, he needs to use that jab and set traps and invite Breazeale in to where maybe Breazeale can run into a straight left, because Breazeale likes to come forward. So if I'm Wallin, I'm inviting him in and maybe using an uppercut to try to catch Breazeale as he comes forward, because Breazeale is heavy on that lead foot. And when you're heavy on that lead foot, That means your weight's come in literally over your chin. And when you throw a big
Come on, let
punch
go
and
of
you
each
get
other.
leverage behind it,
Dominic, let's go.
it compounds with the force and the pressure on your singular shot.
Time. Way to listen, guys.
To the second or the third we go.
Be ready on the break, okay? You should be ready on the break. Deep breath.
Yeah, put it underneath.
No, mister. Up against the ropes, we don't want to kill him with every shot. We want to land the shots, okay? We want to wear it down. It's a 12-round fight. You start landing the shots to wear it down.
And there is Otto Wallin, bam, with that left followed by a right hook. That stopped Breazeale in his tracks. We're heading towards the third with Otto Wallin and Dominic Breazeale. Total punches landed through 2. Breazeale 8 of 65, a 12% connect percentage. Wallin 29 of 91 for a 31% connect percentage. We're on to the third. There's a good jab by Dominic Breazeale. We'll see if he can cut off the ring against Wallin. But Wallin is relaxed and he uncorked a straight left. Now he's using that jab in the face to try to affect Dominic Breazeale, and he just blasted him with the straight left. Breazeale's getting tagged here in the early going, and Wallin is the more athletic of the two, at least from my vantage point. Here's a nice straight left by Otto Wallin. We're at the halfway point of the third. Under a minute to go here in the third. Breazeale hammering away on the body of Wallin with a long right hand. Now Breazeale is looking to cut the distance and get on the inside. We'll see if he can employ his physicality on Wallin.
Let go of each other. Dominic, no forearms.
Behind me. Behind.
Right! Don't punch, don't punch. Both you guys, watch the holding, stay off the back of the head.
Seconds.
Time.
We're going to the fourth.
Good, boxing beautiful. We want to stay alert. Be alert at all times. Starts getting close to you, pivot around off those. Stay off the ropes.
Sure.
Stay out of those corners. Hey, your jab's working. You're countering with it and everything. Shoots him down to the body. It's there for you, especially if he's up there. That'll lower you and the shot will hit. Good. Good boxing. Smart. You're winning every round. Being smart. Don't take any.
Take a look back on some of that smart work of Otto Wallin that Joey Gamache was telling him. He said you're pretty much winning every round thus far. And now we're on to round number 4. This one is scheduled for 12. There's a right hook there by Otto Wallin. We'll see if Breazeale can turn the tables, because so far I have Otto Wallin looking terrific. Wallin punches landed and thrown 19 of 53 in the third, 10 of 34 from the jab department, 9 of 19 power shot wise. For Breazeale in the third round, 5 of 33 for a 15% connect percentage. And that's all you need to know when it comes to Dominic Breazeale. So Breazeale has been landing very few punches per round. Wallin has tripled that, nearly even quadrupled that in the third. Now we're on the fourth. And Wallin is more active. And we'll see if Breazeale can pick up the pace here and make it a dogfight, as he would hope that it would be. Just over the halfway point of the fourth. I asked Breazeale if he was concerned with all the running that he was doing in training camp, working up in Big Bear, California, if he was worried about overtraining, and he said no. He goes, he thinks his body's peaking at the right time. And I'm not saying that Breazeale is having a lack of success because of overtraining. He just seems to be a half a step slow against Otto Wallin. And don't forget, chime in on the conversation on social media at Premier Boxing, also at SBR Flores. Again, at SBR Flores, we appreciate you joining us wherever you are around the world. This is a heavyweight co-main event between Otto Wallin and Dominic Breazeale. So far, what we anticipated being a heavyweight slugfest at points, it has been the complete opposite, but more so a boxing demonstration
Time
for Otto Wallin.
It's presence, okay? But you gotta keep pressing. You gotta be first. And that shot you threw right there up here, I want to see the shots here. Hit his arms, hit something, just wear him down, yes.
Stop head.
Yeah, stop headhunting.
Stop head.
Right down the middle, right here with that right hand, huh? Touch that jab and that right hand, right now.
Keep reminding you.
Dominic Breazeale said some people might have thought I would have wanted to get back in there with the pushover, but I've always wanted to fight the top guys. I saw the Otto Wallin fight and the performance he gave against Tyson Fury. And then Travis Kaufman, when the name was brought to my attention, I jumped all over it. I knew that the boxing world would respect the fight against myself and Otto. Round 5, this one is scheduled for 12. Ray Flores here ringside at Mohegan Sun Resort and Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut. Wherever you're joining us all over the globe, we thank you so much for inviting us into your home. Hope all of you are doing well, even though the world continues to deal with COVID-19 and this worldwide pandemic. No fans in attendance here at Mohegan Sun due to COVID-19 regulations. And there's a straight left that stopped Breazeale in his tracks. Wallin's offense is starting to pick up here in the 5th. Total punches landed, thrown through for Breazeale, 18 of 136, 13% connect percentage. Wallin, 65 of 194 for a 33% connect percentage.
I don't keep up the back of their head.
Johnny Callis telling Wallin to be cognizant of hitting behind the head. And it's because of the fact that Dominic ducks his head underneath and then shots whiz over the head of Breazeale. They're not intentional blows behind the head. There's a straight left there by Wallin. We're at the halfway point of the 5th. And Wallin is fighting well off his back foot as Breazeale is coming forward, but really hasn't been able to do much when it comes to sustained offense.
Hands off the back of his head.
.65 seconds to go here in the 5th, and bam, a straight left that stopped Breazeale in his tracks. Probably the best punch of the fight for Otto Wallin. And Breazeale gets inadvertently pushed to the canvas. It's interesting with no fans because you're able to hear more from the fighters, and I'm hearing that, you know, the shots are really taking effect on Dominic Breazeale. You hear that thud, and I believe there might be a cut outside of the right eye of Dominic Breazeale. Potentially, I thought I saw a cut from my vantage point. I'm trying to get a better look at it. Final moments of this 5th round here between Otto Wallin and Dominic Breazeale. Wallin using his jab, followed by that straight left. And that ends the 5th.
You have to make this a fight. You have to make this a fight. You can't sit back and sit waiting for something to happen. You gotta have to get close and throw punches. Get water.
Boy, that right eye is swollen for Dominic Breazeale. Look at that big overhand left by Otto Wallin. And this is the biggest punch. Bam! Oh my goodness, that started the swelling on the eye of Dominic Breazeale. And there's the inadvertent slip.
Yeah, watch that, all right?
Yeah, that right eye is starting to swell considerably. Round 6, this one's scheduled for 12. And the right eye is starting to swell considerably and will likely impair the vision of Dominic Breazeale. This is an important fight for both men. The only loss in the career of Wallin, a defeat against Tyson Fury. For Breazeale, losses to Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, and Breazeale was starting to step. I think that left leg might be affecting Dominic Breazeale because he stepped and then he grimaced. So I wonder if the left leg or the left knee is starting to affect Dominic Breazeale. Boy, this would be a nice win for Otto Wallin if he's able to stop Dominic Breazeale here tonight. And now Breazeale. So Breazeale's landed 23 punches compared to 88 for Wallin. So if the number disparity isn't anything to take note of, I mean, the numbers don't lie. Sometimes numbers are deceiving in a prize fight, but here they tell the story of this particular fight through the first 5 rounds plus. We're over the halfway point of the 6th. Breazeale swinging for the fences there, but A lot of arm punches. He's not getting leverage behind his shots. And a right hook to the body by Wallin. And the right side of the face of Breazeale is swelling considerably. Under a minute to go. It's not just the right eye, it's the right side of the face. The right cheekbone is swelling. I mean, you could tell it's starting to balloon, which is not a good sign for Breazeale. But let us take note. The fact that Dominic Breazeale has fought with adversity over the course of his career, so he's no stranger to that. Good jab snapping back the head of Breazeale. Final moments of the 6th between Dominic Breazeale and Otto Wallin. Breazeale's got an uphill climb against the Swede. And there's another, that straight left. I don't know if that was sweat or a mouthpiece, but boom. Dominic Breazeale having some significant issues.
Straight right hand to the body. Measure with the left, put that. When you get him against the corner. When you get him against the corner, measure. He's looking for the right hand on top.
You may have to help him quit a little more. You can see he's be alert.
I think Joey Gamache gave Otto Wallin some quality instructions. He said, you may have to help him quit a little more. Round 6 punches landed and thrown. Breazeale 10 of 59. Wallin 21 of 56. 37% connect percentage for Wallin. 16% connect percentage for Breazeale. Again, the numbers tell the story. And also the face of Breazeale. The right side of his face is swelling at a rapid rate as we're on to the 7th. The reflexes of Breazeale don't seem to be as sharp and as quick as they used to be. I mean, sometimes, and listen, I'm not saying that this is happening, but we know in prize fights that there are times when a fighter gets old, quote unquote, overnight, or a fighter isn't the same after a knockout loss. That could be what is happening with Dominic Breazeale, as I have Otto Wallin winning every single round. The fact that he is in his mid-30s, the fact that he is coming off of a 21-month layoff when he suffered that one-punch knockout, a rocket right hand from Deontay Wilder at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And he's facing two different things that he's dealing with, and he's taken on a guy in Otto Wallin who's super talented. His only loss came at the hands of Tyson Fury, 30 years of age. And punch. Joey Gamache certainly believes that his man can finish on Dominic Breazeale. And that would be a nice win for Otto Wallin. There's a straight left, crack in the face of Breazeale. And I wonder, and it's not like Breazeale is taking a ton of abuse, but you wonder if Abel Sanchez, come the 8th and 9th, if the story continues to follow suit, like he might want to say, all right, enough is enough. You know, you live to fight another day. Under a minute left here in the 7th. And Breazeale swinging for the fences, but he has nothing behind his shots.
Step back. Step back.
This is a Dominic Breazeale that literally looks like a shell of his former self. And he's just getting hammered by Otto Wallin. Wallin with a knockout percentage of 60%. But again, in the heavyweights, one punch can turn around a fight. So that's probably what Abel Sanchez is thinking in his mind. One or two big shots and the fight can get turned upside down. But thus far, it has not been the case for Breazeale. There's a big straight left that caught the attention of Breazeale.
Yeah, that was the round that I wanted too. Okay. When you get close, you can't just sit and wait for a big round. You just move your hands. Just waiting for him to throw. How did you work with it?
Too damn hard.
Okay, well, what are you waiting for? Let's go. What round is this? What round is this? 8.
Danny, after he's done, he's going to call a timeout.
Okay.
We'll take a revisiting from the round. There's a straight left. Bang. Driving Breazeale against the ropes.
Just a little slack, okay?
Time. Time. Go ahead. Over there, Otto.
Time being called by Johnny Callis. Tony Les looking at the right eye of Dominic Breazeale.
Dominic.
He deems him
Oh,
able
over
to
there for me, Otto.
continue.
Okay, time in.
And we are on to the 8th round. This one is scheduled for 12 between Otto Wallin and Dominic Breazeale. We thought it would be a slugfest, but thus far it has been completely one-sided for Otto Wallin, the 30-year-old Swede. There's a straight left that connects, and now Breazeale fighting with more of a sense of urgency. He understands that the fight is slipping through his fingertips. Not that he ever had it, but he literally needs to make something significant happen here. Right hand on the top of the head by Breazeale. Here's a right hook by Wallin. And Breazeale is just a lot of arm punches. He's not sitting down in his shots. He's not getting the proper leverage behind his punches. And he's eating shots as he comes forward. Trying to cut off the ring, but again, he tries to do it with his physical size and his attributes, and now he's got to go to work here. And Wallin slips away from the ropes out of the back door and regains the center of the ring. That's good ring awareness and ring generalship by Wallin. Just over the halfway point of the 8th. Straight left that connects again for Wallin. Well, now Breazeale's starting to generate a little more offense. Not that much more, but he is starting to pick up the pace a little bit. We'll see if he's going to wear down Wallin. Wallin has a tendency, at least what we saw against Tyson Fury, to wear down a little bit, but I'm not comparing Breazeale and Fury whatsoever, but I'm just saying that's what happened in the fight against Tyson Fury. Wallin wore down.
I'm gonna keep him up.
There's a left hook there by Dominic Breazeale. There's a left to the body by Wallin. Some good inside work here. A nice right uppercut by Breazeale. Final moments of the 8th. And a very wide right hand that missed Wallin at the end of the 8th.
I don't mind that big shot with it, but it's got to be here. It can't be up there.
Sure.
Right? So all you're going to do is just miss. It's got to be here. Then the water. There you go. right?
Sure.
The shot's got to be here. You get no against ropes like I want you to, but you're not working here.
Working shoulders, shoulders.
Forget about his head, man.
Sure.
That one's going to land. You're dropped into. You're landing more shots now, okay?
Sure.
You're doing much, much better in the sun.
Here's some of the work. That's a nice right uppercut by Breazeale. Right uppercut by Breazeale. The fact that Otto Wallin is quick, he's agile, he's a southpaw, he can move, he's got some power behind his punches. It's difficult. I mean, you know, you hate to fight southpaws at any weight, but even, especially in the heavyweight division. And then a heavyweight southpaw that can move, it's even worse. Now Breazeale, we'll see if Breazeale can turn things around. Round 8 power punches. Breazeale 6 of 33. Wallin 16 of 34. Connect percentage in the power punching department. 47% for Wallin, 18% for Breazeale. If you're Dominic Breazeale, there's a straight left that connected for Wallin. We're coming up on 100 seconds to go here in the 9th. Good hand speed for Otto Wallin.
Keep your hand up his head, Dominic.
And Breazeale trying to measure Wallin. There's a right hand.
Keep him up, Dominic. Keep him up.
There's a straight left that crushed Dominic Breazeale and stopped him in his tracks. Another straight left. Under a minute to go here in the 9th. And so far, Dominic Breazeale, his nickname is Trouble. Well, he's having trouble with Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin is a tough customer for anybody. Just ask Tyson Fury. Breazeale is charging forward, using his jab now. But so far, it has been Otto Wallin who he's the sharper fighter, he's the quicker fighter, he's the more accurate puncher. Breazeale certainly heavy-handed, but Wallin has been able to stay away from most of the big shots that Breazeale has thrown as the round concludes. We're heading towards the 10th. And there is the adversary for none other than Adrian Broner, Giovanni Santiago. The undefeated Puerto Rican, 14-0-1 is his record with 10 knockouts. He takes on Adrian Broner in his most high-profile matchup. After being away from the ring for 25 months, Adrian Broner is back from Cincinnati after dropping nearly 50 pounds. AB is back and ready to go.
Keep him up, Dominic.
Round 10, this one is scheduled for 12 between Otto Wallin and Dominic Breazeale. Total punches landed, thrown through 9. Breazeale 55 of 367, a 14% connect percentage. Wallin 175 of 488, a 35% connect percentage in favor of Otto Wallin. And Breazeale pressing forward, but it is still all
Each other. Come on, let go.
Right.
Break.
Otto Wallin.
Now, is there anything, Al, I'll ask you.
There's a jab followed by that right hand by Dominic Breazeale. And if you're Dominic Breazeale, you need a big finish, because I have him losing every single round. Now Breazeale is looking to cut off the distance. Now this is where Breazeale's got to go to work. He's got Wallin with his back on the ropes. He's got to measure him and start to just unload in machine gun-like bursts. It's like, here's your moment. Johnny Callis will separate them. Oh, that's got to be debilitating for Dominic Breazeale. If you're Breazeale, he had his moment there, and now he's looking to blast away. Breazeale's got a knockout percentage of 81%. So if he's to do it, he's got to turn up the intensity now. It is now or never for Dominic Breazeale. 70 seconds remaining here in the 10th. The right eye continues to swell for Dominic Breazeale. There's a right hand by Breazeale, under a minute left here in the 10th. As he eats a straight left, does Dominic Breazeale. He's so athletic and agile as Otto Wallin. Under 30 seconds remaining here in the 10th.
No punch. No punch. Stop.
And Breazeale crashes to the canvas. Coming up, Adrian Broner in our main event against Giovanni Santiago. And that'll end the 10th. Otto Wallin in total control.
Our main event, the return of Adrian, the problem Broner. He's beginning to climb back, coming off a career-long 25-month layoff, attempting to win his first fight in 4 years. He's been like the sun at the night shift. In order for him to salvage his career.
He's there to be hit. He's tired himself. Sometimes push him back. You know how to get in the cross body and all that. You know, you can take breathers. All right? You know, in that position. But when you're outside, stay off those ropes. Stay out of the corners and box. Move to your right side. That's the...
We are set for the 11th round of this heavyweight.
Round 11, this one is scheduled for 12. It has been all Otto Wallin for the most part in this co-main event. Dominic Breazeale was swelling on his right eye. He's got to do something to turn things around in these final 2 rounds. And Breazeale starting off with more of a sense of urgency. He knows that this fight is not going his way. I mean, obviously, he can feel that with the punches that he's getting tagged with by Otto Wallin. And they crash to the canvas, a takedown there by Dominic Breazeale. This is not MMA. They got their feet tangled up. You know, when you have anybody trip like that on one another, I mean, you really worry, but especially as heavyweights, because that's over 500 pounds
Let go of each other.
between those two. Breazeale 260, or not over 500 pounds. Yeah, about over 500 pounds. Wasn't a mathematician in school, so. 261 for Breazeale, 240 for Otto Wallin, so just over the 500-pound mark. 100 seconds to go here in the 11th. A left hook there by Breazeale, followed by a right hand. Now Breazeale's got to go. He's got to really start to pick up the intensity here now, because he is losing by a significant margin, at least from my vantage point. There's a straight right followed by a left hook by Breazeale, but Wallin comfortable to remain in the pocket. He's inviting Breazeale in almost. And Breazeale looking to swing away, and Wallin charges forward, and Johnny Callis will separate them. I gotta give Johnny Callis credit. We haven't seen and really heard from much of him, and when you do not recognize the referee, that means that they're doing a good job. And you could not pay me enough to be between these two Bohemians. Under a minute left here in the 11th.
Break! Step back, don't punch, don't lean, watch your head.
If anything, the division that has the most concussive knockout power, without a doubt, is the heavyweight division. And here is Breazeale, who's looking to cut off the ring.
Break!
And
Don't punch.
under
Watch your heads.
20-plus seconds to go in this 11th round. This one is scheduled for 12. Breazeale's right eye continues to swell. And we are headed towards the final round, and there's a nice shot by Breazeale to end the 11th, but could it be too little too late?
Thank you so much. Sir? Gentlemen? You. 12th and final.
That's with the takedown.
Just pass and hope to land one, okay?
12th and final. We're touching them up.
I said hope to land one because you're still elusive. But if you move your hands, you're going to land one. So, here we go. Then me ask for brief. You got brief on that side?
Yep.
That's not too good.
Be smart. This is it. He's there to be hit. Slide around to your right after.
Should I get his pass?
Oh, yeah.
12th and final round on the way between Otto Wallin and Dominic Breazeale. It has been
Finish good, guys.
an impressive outing by Otto Wallin, who's gotten the better of the exchanges against Dominic Breazeale, using his boxing skill. Total punches landed through 11. Breazeale 79 of 478, 16% connect percentage. Wallin 213 of 609, a 34% connect percentage. Wallin looks to be the fresher man. He's the sharper man. He's been landing the more authoritative punches. And Breazeale's got to empty the tank and go for broke here. There's a nice right uppercut by Breazeale. Breazeale's got 2:15 left to try to get a knockdown or two to cut into this large lead that you would think that Wallin possesses on the judges' scorecards.
Right! Don't punch, don't punch. Watch your heads, Otto. Get that head out of there.
As Dominic Breazeale and Otto Wallin continue to battle, one thing about the heavyweights,
Dominic, get your
they
hands
like to throw leather, and
Right.
they have
Don't punch.
the biggest punch in the sport. Not these two, but the heavyweight division in general.
Back of the head.
And coming up, the final minute, we are literally going to allow you to hear how these punches sound without me giving a description as to what is transpiring. We are coming up on a minute to go. Enjoy how this sounds from the heavyweights.
That's it. Move your head. Move your feet. Get out of there, Otto. Stay off the rope. Use your defense. Get out of there. to your head.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Stay out of the corner.
Get out of there, Otto. Let him look at it.
Stay out there. That's it.
Push him back.
Keep him in the center.
The fight we talked about Otto Wallin.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Fight Dominic Breazeale.
Go back and fire, Otto.
Stand down.
So again, we talked about
Yeah,
the
but
fight that most for was the loss against Tyson Fury.
Let go, Otto. Let go of him. Come on. Over his head, Otto.
At least until the final bell.
Finish strong.
Not enough.
Your head. Get out there.
And that ends the fight as Otto Wallin looked mightily impressive over Dominic Breazeale. We hope you enjoyed hearing how the heavyweights crack one another. And you're able to really get a better perspective on the sound because no fans in attendance due to COVID-19 regulations. But Breazeale obviously exhausted. And he took somewhat of a beating against Otto Wallin. Ready to send it up to ring announcer here.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Tom Schreck, scores about 116 to 112. Judge Anthony Paolillo scores it 117 to 111. And Waleska Roldan sees it 118 to 110. All three in favor of the winner by unanimous decision, Otto All In Wallin.
So Otto Wallin across the board, unanimous decision victory. That's a big win for Wallin. He's won 2 in a row for Breazeale. He's dropped 2 straight. And Wallin improves his record to 22-1. And will likely get a bigger fight moving forward. I'd like to see him fight Luis Ortiz next, honestly. I would have no problem with that. Give me Luis Ortiz and Otto Wallin next. And Dominic Breazeale obviously disappointed, but I'm sure that he will be back.